That sound you're hearing isn't background music. It's real radio noise captured from Saturn, converted into something human ears can detect. It isn't silence out there. It's a planet broadcasting into empty space. For generations, we admired Saturn as the crown jewel of the solar system, a glowing giant wrapped in delicate rings, drifting calmly through the dark. It looked serene, almost gentle, but appearances lie. Saturn is not gentle. It's a colossal sphere of hydrogen and helium rotating so quickly that it bulges at the equator, squashed slightly like an overripe pumpkin. Its atmosphere is a battlefield of extreme winds and towering storms. Its gravity is ruthless enough to tear apart worlds and turn their remains into decoration. This is not a quiet monarch. It's a force of chaos. Start with the rings, the feature that made Saturn famous. Through a telescope, they appear smooth and solid, like polished gold bands suspended in space. Step inside them, and that illusion vanishes. The rings are a vast debris field. Ice chunks and rock fragments whip around the planet at enormous speeds. Some are tiny as dust, others are as large as mountains. They collide, fracture, and scatter in an endless, violent dance. The entire system stretches nearly 300,000 kilometers across, yet in many regions it's only about 10 meters thick, wide as a continent, thin as a blade. Where did this frozen wreckage come from? Most scientists suspect a catastrophic event. A moon may have wandered too close, crossing what's known as the Roche limit, the boundary where tidal forces overwhelm a body's own gravity. Saturn's pull would have ripped it apart layer by layer, reducing a once solid world into countless fragments. The rings may be the remains of that destruction. What looks like ornamentation could be the aftermath of planetary dismemberment. And the strangeness doesn't stop there. At Saturn's North Pole spins something that seems impossible, a hexagon, not a symbol, not an illusion, a six-sided storm system carved into the atmosphere itself. Fluid motion should favor circles and spirals, yet here is a geometric pattern large enough to engulf several Earths. It extends deep into the planet's atmosphere, its edges sharp and persistent. At its center churns a massive vortex, a swirling eye tinted red, like a hurricane trapped inside a shape that geometry textbooks recognize, but nature rarely repeats. It has endured for decades, possibly longer, locked in place over the pole, as if anchored to something unseen. Then there are the global tempests. Roughly every 30 Earth years, about one Saturn year, the planet erupts with a phenomenon called the Great White Spot, a storm so immense it can encircle the entire world. Lightning flashes within it with power thousands of times greater than typical strikes on Earth. Bright clouds of ammonia ice surge upward from deeper layers, transforming the planet's muted gold into glaring white. Beneath the calm, banded exterior lies stored heat and energy waiting for release. Saturn also commands a vast collection of moons, more than 140 identified so far. Among them is Titan, a world that feels strangely familiar. Titan, the largest moon of Saturn, is the only moon in the solar system with a thick, dense atmosphere. At its surface, the air pressure exceeds that of Earth. There are rivers, lakes, even rainfall. From a distance, it could pass for home. But this resemblance is deceptive. On Titan, rain falls not as water, but as liquid methane and ethane. Temperatures hover near minus 179 degrees Celsius. any unprotected human body would freeze almost instantly, tissues becoming brittle enough to fracture. The dunes that stretch across its surface aren't made of sand, but dark hydrocarbon particles, essentially organic compounds shaped by wind into towering ridges. It mirrors Earth's processes, but with chemistry alien to life as we know it. Farther out orbits Enceladus, a small, brilliant white moon once dismissed as a frozen lump of ice. That assumption changed dramatically. Cracks near its south pole, nicknamed tiger stripes, vent enormous plumes of water vapor and ice into space. These geysers shoot hundreds of kilometers above the surface. Tidal forces from Saturn flex and squeeze the moon, generating heat within. Beneath its icy shell lies a global ocean of liquid water. The plumes contain salt and organic molecules, warmth, water, chemistry, the ingredients that on Earth support life. In the darkness below that ice crust, something could be moving. To uncover these secrets, we relied on a robotic explorer, the Cassini spacecraft. Launched by NASA and its partners, Cassini spent 13 years orbiting Saturn, studying its rings, atmosphere, and moons in remarkable detail. But by 2017, it was nearly out of fuel. Engineers faced a difficult decision. If Cassini drifted uncontrolled, it might eventually collide with a moon like Enceladus or Titan, risking contamination. So they chose a controlled ending. Cassini was sent plunging into Saturn's atmosphere. During its final descent, it continued transmitting data back to Earth, antenna locked on our distant planet. Eventually, the increasing heat and pressure overwhelmed it. The spacecraft disintegrated, becoming part of Saturn itself. Saturn feels timeless, but it is not immune to change. Even its rings are temporary. Material from the rings is slowly spiraling downward in a phenomenon known as ring rain. In perhaps 100 million years, they may disappear entirely. Without them, Saturn would resemble the other gas giants, impressive but less iconic. So when you look at Saturn through a telescope, remember what you're seeing. Not just beauty, but motion. Not just elegance, but violence. A world built on gravity, storms, and destruction. A masterpiece shaped by forces that do not care about us. It is stunning, it is dangerous, and it will not look this way forever.